Okay, so today I'm going to show you how to do some beat variation in Reason using the Dr. Rex looper. And here's a song I made that has some beat variation in the first couple of notes. So I'll play it for you. So now I'll show you how I varied the beat so like, it doesn't just stay all the same, like have a little bit of variation in it. So we're going to create a new Reason file. First we're going to create our mixer, then we're going to create our Dr. Rex looper, and I'll pick a beat. So no. So let's just choose that one. So now we have to go to track. So it goes down to our track. Let's listen to what it sounds like. So I mean that sounds pretty boring. Like you don't want like the same beat over and over and over again. So if we double click on one of the patterns in the beat, we get taken to this, then it's basically just the beat. So if we select the entire sequence, we can go up to this tool window, click on Tools, go down to Scale Tempo, and scale to something like 70% instead of 100. So if we apply that, you can see it varied the beat a little. So now let's listen. So that's how you get variation in your beat, and it's called a delay.
Alright, so I'm going to show you how to make a song that uses slave mode in Reason so that you can get a beat over in GarageBand. So I'll play you a song that I used this in. So you can hear I have a beat, and then I used a synthesizer that I found in GarageBand, so I'll show you how I did that. So first you want to make sure you have GarageBand open before you open Reason. So I have GarageBand here, and I'm just going to click down here and open Reason. Wait for it to load. Okay. So right here it says that slave mode is wired in, so that's what we want. And then I'm going to go over and add in my drum computer. So using redrum, I'm just going to make a beat that sounds similar to my other one. So I can run that to hear what it sounds like. So you can hear that kind of sounds similar to my other song. So since this is in slave mode, it should just transfer right over to GarageBand. So if I play my GarageBand file, you should be able to hear that beat. So you can see that that's in there. And then from GarageBand, I just found a synthesizer that I liked. So you can just pick anything, really. Sure, that's exciting. Okay, so I'll drag that in there. It's not the same one that I used before, but we can play it and you can see the effect. So that just kind of shows you how you can use GarageBand and slave mode to create a file with a Reason beat.
Okay, today I'm going to show you how to scale and position an image simultaneously in Premiere. So the first thing you want to do is set your position and scale. So we do that by clicking these keyframes. And then we want to set the position, or we want to set the time in which this is happening over. So we're going to set it to about 4 seconds. And now we want to use our scale keyframe. So when we move this down, it's going to create a new keyframe. And over that time, that 4-second period, we're going to see it scale. So you see how you get this black space here? We don't want that. We want the whole poster scaling and moving at the same time. So we can scale and then move it up a little, scale and then move it up a little. We're going to move it to about 110. And we want to pan in on distinguishing characteristics. So now that we have that in the position we want, and we play it over, it should scale. It should scale and pan simultaneously. And see, no black. We're all good.
Okay, so I'm going to teach you how to make transitions between photos in Premiere. So if we go to my Premiere file right now, you'll see I have these 3 photos. And when I play it, you can see that in between it's just kind of choppy. It just cuts from one picture to the next. So the way I'm going to fix this is I'm going to line these up. I'll start by stacking the photos so that they kind of overlap. And then I'm going to go in and I'll start by clicking on this first picture, and when I double click it, it'll bring me up here to this effect controls, and I can drop down the opacity and alter it. So at this point, I'm going to want to start with an opacity of 100. And then I want it to fade to have no opacity so that you can't see it. So I'll make this opacity 0. Then I'll go up to this picture here, double click it, and go to Effect Controls. Effect Controls here, and then I'll alter the opacity of this one. So I'm going to start with an opacity of 0. And then I want it to fade to an opacity of 100. Okay, and then I'll go over here and I want it to fade out, so I'll start with an opacity of 100 and change it to have an opacity of 0, so it's fading out. And then with the last picture, I'll double click it, go up to Effect Controls, and have the opacity start at 0, and then fade it in and have an opacity of 100. So now I'll play it back and you can see how it's a little bit more of a smooth transition. So as you can see, the pictures are kind of fading from one to the next, and it's a little bit more of a smooth transition.
So today I'm going to show you how to do some text animation in After Effects using Adobe Bridge. And here's an animated infographic that I made for the Black Phoebe. And if we play it, you can see at the beginning I used a text animation for the title. So I'll show you how to do that right now. So go to After Effects. Let's get a new layer, a solid. Let's make it black. Then let's get a text file, and we'll say something simple like Apple. So if we want to do a text animation, we go up to Animation, Browse Presets, and it opens up Bridge down here. Take a second. Okay, so now we have a bunch of presets in Adobe Bridge, and we can go to text right here to get our text animations. If we go to Animate In, I think we'll find one that I used. So you can look at it over here to preview it. So let's do the character shuffle in. So if we want to apply that to ours, we can double click on it. And now if we press play, we can see One more time. Press play. We can see it fade in, and the text animation has now been applied. And yes.
Okay, so I'm going to teach you how to use After Effects to put a red filter over an image. So I'll show you a video that I did this with. So as you can see, my image turned into this deep red color, and that allowed me to kind of represent the endangerment of my animals through the red color. So it fades and turns different shades of red. So I'll show you how to do that using After Effects. So if I go in here, I have this file already here, and I want to change this background or the overall color of my picture to have more of a red hue. So you can do that by going to Effect, Color Correction, and then go to Color Balance, and that pulls up this effect controls on the left side right here. And then you want to alter this mid-tone red balance. So if you want it to fade over time, start off by making a keyframe. So this is where it's going to start, and over the course of a couple seconds you're going to want that to change. And so then if you just move this red up, you can see that the whole thing changes to have a red hue. So then if you look back at it, you can see that over a few seconds it's going to fade to have a deeper red color. And so what I did with my video is I used that to represent the endangered status of my animal. So you can fade it in and out, and use that to represent different things.